Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another week of the Empowerment Climb, take two. So apparently we had some microphone challenges through take one at 6:30 a.m. So the benefit of doing this so early in the morning and doing it live is that we could come back around and do it again. So I'm really excited to still be joining you on Wednesday morning for the Empowerment Climb. I'm really excited because this is another week for us to get it right, another week for us to grow and glow together, and another week for us to be empowered. So do me a favor, as you are chiming in, please be sure and share it with another lady who needs to also be empowered on today. And I am super excited to share this topic with you because it is near and dear to my heart. And it's all about 3 reasons why leaders must be readers. So as you're chiming in, be sure and share with me where you're logging in from. Are you here in the city of Milwaukee? Are you down the road in Chicago? Let others know where you are joining us from because we would love to be able to continue and connect with you. So last week, I had the opportunity to visit a group of children as a guest speaker for the school's Careers, Comprehension, and Conversations Day. Wow, what a tremendous time of meeting with these little 6-year-olds, 5, 6, and 7-year-olds in first grade in Miss Williams' class as they were learning all about how the importance of readers, and if you're a reader, you can become a leader. And I thought to myself, wow, that's exactly what we're talking about on the Empowerment Climb. How ironic is that? But more importantly, I was really excited to be able to share with the children these 2 books. And these 2 books had such strong themes in them. The first theme was dealing with not settling for less, always going for more. And the second theme was to consider who are the people who are around you. In other words, who's in your tribe, who's in your corner, who has your back, because they're going to be the ones to push you to the next level. Even though these were simply children's books, they really had strong themes that as adults and as leaders today would help us as well. And so it led me to just simply think about our key point of exposure is key. Exposing these children not only to these various texts, but also to various careers and the individuals who are coming from across the state, literally, to join them on this day. Think about the seeds that were planted on that day and think about them as becoming the next leaders for the city of Milwaukee and beyond. When it's said and done, reading and learning from our peers, both within our trade as well as without of our industry, all of these things enable us to not only grow as an employee, but grow as a business owner and even grow as a leader. So I'm so glad that you are joining and empowering yourself and you're investing in you. You are investing in you by joining me this morning for the Empowerment Climb because we're talking about the 3 reasons why leaders must be readers. So reason number 1, reading reminds you. It reminds you of the benefits of rereading the same book of art or article. So it's getting pretty cold here in Milwaukee and in the Robin's Nest. I love to make a big pot of chili. And if you know anything about a pot of chili, you know it always tastes better on the second day. Why? Because all of the flavors have had an opportunity to go through it now, right? All of the seasonings have had a chance to go through it. Well, it's the same thing when you reread an article or a book. It's the exact same thing. It really allows you to be reminded of all the good, juicy nuggets, all the key concepts that were also related to that book that you are reading that can turn around and help you in your leadership skill. It also is a great way to identify those needs of attention that may come up in your own industry, your own career. So when it's said and done, when you reread a book, it reminds us and it keeps the important concepts top of mind. It keeps those key ideas right in the forefront, right in front of you so that you can continue to exercise them. The second reason why leaders must be readers is reading challenges you. When we are reading challenges our opinion. So I have a dear friend of mine, she's probably watching this morning as well, and we often are on the opposite side of everything. We are quick to debate, and sometimes it can get pretty heated, but the benefit of us having these conversations together and the benefit of us continuing to share these opinions with one another is it stretches us, and it stretches us as leaders, and it stretches our ideas, which is always key and always important to be stretched. No one likes to be around boring people. So the great way to continue to make sure you're not boring is to read. And if you come across something that you disagree with or have a question about, it's an opportunity to impact your ability to think both creatively as well as logically. It's good to hear an opinion of someone else. And in our current climate, it seems as though that's not always the case. So you can be the one to start to change the culture where you are by listening to someone else and allowing reading and what you're reading to challenge you. The third and final point as to why we as leaders must be readers, it includes reading offers opportunities. And when we're reading, we're offered an opportunity. This opportunity includes an interaction with our team members, be it if you're the lead or you're merely a team member. It gives you that interaction with the people around you. This interaction can take place by reading articles to share or ideas that might inspire action amongst someone else. So I know for myself with my team, I am quick to find an article, pick out key points, and jigsaw it out and pass it out to them because I want to use it in a later conversation with them. So it's a great way I use this particular strategy as an icebreaker with my team, or to introduce a new idea, or to launch a new concept. It's also a great way when it comes to interacting with your team to help to build their background knowledge. So if there's an article that you find or a chapter from a book that's going to be something that not a lot of people know about, this is a great way to start to lay a foundation relatively easily. Also, it's another way that it can support an idea or decision that you have going forward. So think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, well, I just read, or according to the research, and especially if you're in the field of education, everyone is always citing a bit of research. But when you do so, this actually offers leverage and supports the idea that you have in your trade or background. So it helps to solidify what you're conveying to others around you. And finally, it's a great way to spark debate amongst your team. Now, keep in mind, I said debate, not drama. So it's a great way to spark debate amongst your team if you are encouraging them to be a reader. So it also helps to be and deal more with team building. And if you, as a team leader or an aspiring leader, you know culture is something that is most important amongst your team, and it's something, regardless as to where your level is in the organization, that you can have an impact on. So, what does the research say? Well, there is so much research out there as to why leaders must be readers. I literally had a hard time going through everything, and I want to be able to share some of my favorite books that I use as well that are in the Robin's Nest library. So one of the very first reasons why readers must be leaders, according to the research, is reading actually improves your intelligence. Well, that seems to make sense, seems pretty simple, right? But it also leads to innovation and insight. Even more of an important reason why we must be readers as leaders, because we want to have those keen insights. In addition, it also increases our vocabulary, our word knowledge, and our abstract reasoning, all from simply reading a book. It's great for creativity, and also according to the research, it's keen in helping with our communication and our articulation. Reading novels, which are not your trade books or those in your industry, so reading novels can actually improve our empathy, our understanding of social cues, and allowing us as leaders to be better in the workforce that we're working with, because it helps us to better understand those individuals that are around us. So here are a couple of key books that are in my library that I love and have referenced. One of the books, and I know it's going to be backwards because it's on the screen, so I'll be sure to list it in the comments below, is The First 90 Days, and hold it up right here, The First 90 Days, Proven Strategies for Getting Up to Speed Proven Strategies for Getting Up to Speed Faster and Smarter. It's by Michael Watkins. It's a pretty simple read, and you can see I've read it quite a few times. I have it marked up. I have tabs on it because what do? As a leader, I refer back to something I've read before. Now, mind you, this is talking about the first 90 days in a new job, at a new industry, as a new leader. I've been in this role for way over 90 days, but I still reference back to this book. Why? Because it has so much rich information, and it's great, and it has helped me, and I'd share it because I think it could also help you. Another book that I wanted to share real quickly is called Common Sense Economics. This is another one, Common Sense Economics. And it has an extended title, What Everyone Should Know About Wealth and Prosperity, right? Common Sense Economics. And it also has a number of authors that are with it. So I will also add this to the comments below. But when it comes to something, I'm not in the field of economics, but I definitely support economics, right? So I'm going to read something that's going to stretch me as a leader, and that's going to help me to continue to grow as a leader. So I often will even ask in an interview question, like, what are you currently reading? Because as a leader, it's important for me to know that the people around me are also reading, because it's going to help in stretching us. So in summary, if you are a leader or an aspiring leader, you must strive to develop your knowledge, to improve your company, the people you work with or work for, but most importantly, you must read to improve you. Don't shortchange yourself. Especially if you are an aspiring leader, don't shortchange yourself, and don't shortchange your ability to lead by simply not picking up a book. So what can we do today? From the classroom to the boardroom, here's something you can turn around and do today. Well, first and foremost, make time. I know. We'll hear people say, oh, I just don't have time to read. I would love to read more, but I just don't have time to read. Well, one simple tip and strategy can be simply take 30 minutes. You don't have to take long stretches of time to read that next novel. Simply take 30 minutes to read your book or read a portion of the book to start to build your background knowledge. And you might even consider, all right, I'm going to read this 30 minutes before I go to bed today, right? Read articles online. If reading a book seems too overwhelming to get back into the strive of reading, read an article online. I personally love Twitter. Part of the reason why I love Twitter is those articles. I can follow exactly the industries I'm most interested in. The articles pop up. I can read them, I can share them, and I can be about my day, right? And also think about multitasking. If you're in the car driving from point A to point B, use that audiobook. Find something that's in your industry, find something that you are able to connect with, and those are all going to be options for you as well, right? So, and then last but not least, listen to NPR. I am a big fan of NPR because it's going to give me various industries that are going to help me. And think about the jigsaw. You may have heard me reference the jigsaw earlier in our time together. So if all my teachers that are listening, I know you know about the jigsaw method. And this is a method that we used often when I was in graduate school as well, which simply meant that you would take the text, be it a chapter in the book or the entire book itself, and equally divide it amongst the people that are reading it. And then you come back together and share what you have read. That way, it doesn't all rest with one individual. And it also is a great way that you can still get the information out there and be able to share with one another. And this is a great way that you can really expand what you're reading to in a short amount of time. And always, if you get a chance, read something for fun. Everything we read does not have to be related to our trade or industry. So if you want to pick up that magazine that's been sitting on your coffee table, just so that you can zone out, you don't have to be on a beach to be able to do that. So I give you permission, read something for fun, especially try it for today, right? So here is our point of practice before we sign off today. And our point of practice actually comes from a woman by the name of Margaret Fuller from the 1800s. She was an American journalist and critic and a women's rights advocate. And she states, today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Doesn't get much more simple than that. Today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Well, if you are picking up a book today, be sure and drop me a line below. Let me know what you're reading. You might encourage someone else to pick up that exact same book. And as always, I also want to remind you, if you've been following along, I have a special announcement today. If you've been joining me each week on the Empowerment Climb, you know you've been receiving a lot of information. But if you're ready for transformation, I'd like to invite you to the Making the Climb course, 15 Steps and Strategies for a Better Life. There'll be a link that's posted at the bottom of my Crowdcast webinar, but you can also find it. I'll post it via YouTube or my other social media platforms, because I'd like to invite you to join me for transformation for this Making the Climb course. It is limited to only 10 women to start out with, because I think it's so important that we can continue to support one another. So be sure and stay tuned for that special announcement. And then, as always, next week we'll come back together, and next week's topic, as we prepare for the close of 2017, is making peace with yourself and others. Making peace with yourself and others. I see Living in Peace Ministries is online here via my left on Instagram, so I want to say good morning to them, because they definitely have it down there. So if you haven't checked them out, you definitely want to be sure you do so as well. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to spend part of your morning with me. I want to continue to encourage me. Remember, the conversation continues even after today, so be sure and like and share and empower someone else who needs to go from process to practice. As always, grab your stilettos and let's go.